we had a lot of door-to-door salespeople when I was growing up, and Mother would always invite them in, watch the demonstration of the vacuum cleaner, give them some cool water to drink, and hear their life story. But there was one woman that came by, and I remember her so well because she became a good friend, and she was selling Spirilla corsets.
Spirilla?
Yeah, I think that was the brand name.
What was the woman's name?
Smith, and
Mrs. Smith.
Laura Smith. And she knocked on Mother's door. Mother invited her in, and Mother wore a corset like that. It was very common, They had this some kind of it just held you in and made you look slimmer. And this woman went door to door.
They were lace up, right?
Yeah. You had to lace them and tie them, but you had to have your measurements first, the basic measurements. So this woman would get the measurements in the home and mail it off, and when the corset came back, she'd deliver it and see if it fit, and adjusted, right? And so Mother was listening to her story as she was being measured for a new corset, and found out the woman was a widow, and she had 2 children, and one of them was going to have an operation, some surgery right away, and she had no income except this selling corsets. And so Mother gave her the name of every woman in her Sunday school class who looked like they might need a corset, which really was the majority of the class. And then she made a lunch for Mrs. Smith, and it was things from the garden, the fresh vegetables, and a really good lunch. And then she took a big grocery sack and sacked it full of her plum jelly and garden vegetables, and sent that home with her. And so they became, lifelong friends. And Mrs. Smith took me downtown. She became like an aunt to me. She took me downtown shopping and bought my first Bible for me. And right now it is just falling apart. It's just pages coming out because it was mine, and I could read it, and I could, underline it or whatever. And so, that friendship meant a lot to Mother. And I know when my mother's mother died, that day, Smith was there. Mm-hmm. And by the time I got there, Mother was sitting on a stool in the kitchen, and Mrs. Smith had wrung out a washcloth, and she was wiping her face off, Mother's face off, because Mother was really taking it hard. It makes me cry even now.
Oh, yeah.
But Mrs. Smith was really there for her. Such a comfort. And because they'd been through a lot of things to get, similar things. And she comforted her in a way that, I don't think I could, because...
Right. Mrs. Smith knew the blues.
Knew the blues?
Well, she'd had a hard life.
Oh, yes. Yes, she had. And it didn't stop her from, being a sensitive person. But she was a good friend. And even, my mother died then, and Smith was still getting in touch with me,
Wow.
and keeping up with me. And
Wow.
just because of some corsets, okay?
Right. Yeah, because grandmother was so loving. And,
yeah.
Wow.
They just hit it off.
Probably if she hadn't even needed a corset, she would have bought one.
You're right. I think she would have.
You feel the meaning of pain.
You like pain?
Oh. Try wearing a corset.